All right, so the useful set of works. This one is going to be a little bit tricky. And the major issue here is I want you to be challenging yourself. So I want you to make at least 4 objects, but I do not want you making 4 bowls or 4 cups. Oh, I don't know, you could put a candle in them. I want you to really think about what that function is, how they are useful. So I want you to think creatively. Think about things you may not have seen before. And so I'm going to try to give you some examples of things that are very clearly sets. They go together, they work together, they have a particular function. You don't separate one out from the others. So Deb Schwartkopf does a lot of sets that have these trays on the bottom. These are wheel thrown and altered, some slab built stuff. And and I think you can find videos of her working online. But this is clearly a tea set or coffee set. You've got your container, your teapot, your cups, your sugar, your creamer, right? It's all there, and then that tray is a part of it as well. This is more work by Deb, and you can see some very specific uses of some of these things. So we've got like a orange juice squeezer, gravy boat, and a tulip vase, a very specific use for that vase. Notice that other than maybe these 2, they all very specifically have a use, and they are for that particular thing. Something like this collection of just kind of a random assortment of things is not, I mean, I like that the things have specific functions, but I'd like to see these be a coherent set. So this example here of Deb Schwartkopf's work is just to give you some ideas, right? To get you thinking in some different directions. Notice this container for bread or whatever it is this elongated form. I've seen lots of stuff on Pinterest where they're not necessarily artist made, but they have, this is specifically for crackers and dip, or this is specifically for olives, or whatever the shape of it tries to suggest what can go in it. Martha Grover's work, I think, is similar to Deb Schwartkopf's work in some ways. We've got butter dishes, we've got tulip vases, and we've got these pieces that, while the forms themselves are relatively simple, I do like that they relate to one another, so they clearly go together. If you submitted something like this, I would like that they're a set, but I'd be a little disappointed that they're just simply, I don't know, plates, bowls, you can put whatever in them, right? Here are another couple of examples of juicers, and these ones, interestingly, we've got the picture of them hanging up, but they actually go on top of a pitcher, and so you could make the pitcher that this goes on top of to squeeze the juice into. I mean, I know it goes on top because otherwise where's the juice going to go, right? Whereas this one has a little pouring spout for the juice. And here's Gwendolyn Yopolo. These have a pouring spout. Actually, these are the 2 pieces together. So there's the orange juice squeezer and then the orange juice collector pourer. And then if you imagine this is only 2 and you need 4 for your set, but clearly you could also have some cups that would go with this. And whereas the cups would be a relatively simple form, they could be used for a variety of things, the fact that they would visually match these 2 objects or objects like these would make them into a set. Saenger Porcelain is known for these pieces that kind of nest together. So these are tea sets or coffee sets, but very clearly fit all together. You have probably 5 pieces here with the teapot, the 3 or 4 mugs, and then the base thing, depending which one you're looking at. Interestingly, one of these also shows up on Star Trek, I think The Next Generation, where they're drinking coffee out of this. So futuristic. Lisa Sikora, I think it's Linda Sikora. Now I'm not sure. But anyway, this is a cruet set. You've got the containers for oil and vinegar, and then the cup thing that they go in to carry them around, or to bring them to the table. You might also consider looking at work like this that is a coffee pour over. Sorry, I'm trying to get this. There we go. So you can see the website. It's at Ceramic Arts Network, Ceramic Arts Daily. And these are just 2, the cup and the pour over part, but you could make several like this, like we see in the picture. So you can think about coffee, the sorts of utensils you use with coffee, the sorts of utensils you use with tea, other meals where you eat and drink particular sorts of things. What we haven't seen yet is like a little plate for a cookie or something like that. We haven't seen spoons, which later you'll see. Oh, here, ceramic spoon. So here we have another cruet set. I don't know what the third thing is in a cruet set, but this has 3. I'm not sure. But here we have the container with the support thing with the handle, the 2 cruet sets, and the cruet set parts, the 3 of them, and so together 4 objects together. Here we have a gravy boat, I think, and then a spoon. I don't know, why do you need a spoon with a gravy boat? I'm not sure, but I wanted to show you a spoon. Not quite there, don't have enough objects, but you can see these can get really wacky and crazy and expressive. You could combine potentially one of your other creative problems with this creative problem by doing decoration that is suggestive of something else. Jennifer Harnetty I included here simply because she's really thought about the display for these things. So this is a teapot, or actually this is for alcohol. It says in the thing. But you've got the container, you've got the 3 cups, but then they kind of nest into these boxes. And so you really feel like these go together. They're part of a set. They relate to one another. It's not just some random things that got thrown together. If we're going to talk about functional stuff, I really want to make sure we talk about George Orr, the mad potter of Biloxi. He was an early 20th century potter. And remember the puzzle cups that we talked about when we were talking about subject and career? These cups, this one here and this one here, are also puzzle cups where you have to cover up certain holes to be able to drink out of it without dribbling on you. George Orr was also known for making very, very thin pottery, which he then kind of collapsed on itself. You can see lots of pictures of his work. Interestingly, most of his work was destroyed in a fire, but he was so sure that he was going to be famous that he didn't sell anything basically after that. I mean, used to sell stuff, and then after all his stuff burned up in a fire, he was destroyed because of this fire. He kept all the work so it could be in the museum because he knew he'd have a museum, and of course now he does. George Orr and George O'Keeffe have a museum together in the Southwest, and you can go see his work. Florian Gadsby, I'm not sure that this person is particularly well known, but I particularly liked the set that we have here. So this is such a different use. You can really think about what you use things for. So your set could be, here's an ink set where you can imagine different inks that would be in the different cups, water for cleaning your brush and water for thinning out your ink, and then there's obviously a brush and a pen, and the pen has a little stand. So very much a ceremony around the writing here. I think even the handle of this pen is ceramic. I didn't find any nice sets of artistic, or I didn't find very many, I should say, nice sets of artistic sake sets, but I did find this one. Nice thing about this one, again, is the tray on the bottom. This isn't the most traditional form entirely, but very expressive. Again, it's doing double duty. It's telling a story or showing other stuff as well as being the sake set. I also had some trouble finding interesting lamps, so I thought this one was fun. Some of the other ones are a little less exciting, but you could potentially think about putting a light in your pieces and have a set of lamps or a set of lights or a set of candles. Now, here's my warning about candles. If you make a cup, just a little old cup, and you later say, I don't know, I guess you could put a candle in it, I'm much less impressed than if you thought about how that light would actually interact with the cup, where the candle would go, whether it would be covered or not, whether there's enough air, if it's not a candle but a light, where the plug goes, those sorts of things. So this particular assignment, I've had people do it in a really simplistic way, and I don't want you to do that. I want you to challenge yourself. Here are a couple of ideas. I didn't entirely find all of them, but you looked at some tea sets, coffee sets, serving sets, sake sets. You could look at doing a set of tableware. Again, not just, I don't know, they're bowls, I guess they're a set, but here's why they match, here's why they go together, and here's specifically what you use them for, what you eat out of them, why this shape matches, works for this particular food or drink or whatever it is. Lamps, here's a arts and crafts style lamp. Base is made out of clay. The top could be made out of clay, ceramic. Candlestick holders, I didn't find any good artistic ones, so you could imagine. Menorahs, I found some, but it was hard to tell if they were artist made. Cruet sets we looked at. something from a ceremony. You have a ceremony in your life that has objects with it. Tell us about it. Bring those, make a set of whatever those objects are and tell us about why they are specific to that use. Toys. This one here, my my nephew requested some stacking cat dolls, and I made them out of ceramics. Oh my gosh, they were difficult to make fit quite right. But I have had students make stacking nesting figures like Matryoshka dolls. You could try that. Those are a set that would be for playing with, but they clearly go together, and they're challenging. Whistles. I've just got a couple of fairly simple whistles here, simple in form, but you could think about whistles that are used for particular games or events or something. I didn't think that one all the way through yet, so you'll have to figure it out. When I have made whistles before, I can help you out to make them tune. They can be a little bit challenging, just warning. Games. This one is a Japanese drinking game made of ceramic. And some of you shouldn't make drinking games, probably. You're not old enough. But this particular game, it has different sizes of sake cups. The sake cups are square, and then there's a dice that's inside. The dice has different decorations on the sides of it. Usually there's 6 cups. And so you or maybe 5 and one is a bye or something. But the different decorations on the different sides of the dice match the different decorations on the cups. And so when you roll a guy swinging his arm, you drink the guy swinging his arm cup. And when you roll a horse, you drink out of the horse cup. So you have different amounts of drinking. Terrible influence, aren't I? But that's a game that I'm familiar with. You may think of another game that could be made. I had a student make a chess set. It was quite beautiful, actually, what he ended up with. So you could think of games that could be made out of ceramic. Lots of options here. Remember, challenge yourself. This should be clearly to be used for a particular thing and clearly a set, even if you have to explain it to us. All right, thank you.